Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here. Excuse me. Grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, how is everybody today? Happy Sunday. Please, guys, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and share it with anybody that might get something out of it. Guys, I really encourage you to leave a comment if there's anything you want to know. Let me know. Let me know where you're from. Let me know who's watching. Anyway, that being said, thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. I couldn't do this without you, and it's funny. I was talking about the channel with my recovery advisor, and she says, one of the things I really like is that when you refer to the channel, I always refer to it as our channel because it's ours. This is our space. I'm just, lucky enough to be here speaking, and I appreciate all you here being with us. And I want you guys to look at it this way: this is your space. If you need to vent, if you got a question, if you got something you need to get off your chest, if you just want fellowship, that's what we're here for. With that being said, guys, what a day! I'll tell you about. All right, so after I did my video last night, I was wrapping up my evening, and I went to take my shower, and lo and behold, I had no hot water, and I gave it a good minute. Oh, Simon's going by. I gave it a good minute, and it wasn't coming, And I'm like, oh boy, I've been waiting for this day to come for a number of reasons, guys. I'm now doing all the service work here, and when water heaters go, that's something that's very expensive, and it's something you make a lot of money on. But again, it's one of those things. It's going to be a touchy subject between Doug and I. But again, he's actually the one that breached it, and he said, Pat, when water heaters go, I appreciate give me a discount, but none of this hourly stuff. You got to charge, what it's worth. Look at what the go look at the bills and see what the last company charged, and then maybe give me a little discount off of that, but charge because he knows full well it's way more money than I would normally charge. So, and guys, it's a good thing I was paying attention because what I did was I went downstairs to check on it because I know full well if I have no hot water, there's a very good chance it could be dumping water all over the floor down the basement. Sure enough, I went down there and the thing, it must have just happened because it was pouring water out, but there was very little on the floor, so I literally must have caught it within minutes. So I shut down, we have two 75-gallon tanks. That tank serves my half of the building. I shut the water down to it, and I immediately texted Doug. It was about 11 o'clock last night. I didn't expect he'd be awake. He's usually in bed, but he was actually up watching basketball. So he called me right back, and I said, yeah, hey, I just want to let you know. I'll take care of it in the morning. But yeah, sure enough, I said, I noticed there's no hot water, so I came right down to check, and it's a good thing I did because I sent him a picture. I go, this thing, literally the tank exploded. It was dumping. 1-inch water main. I mean, that's dumping a lot of water. And he's like, oh my God, thank God. And I'm so glad you're there and so glad you're on the ball because that would have been going all night before anybody else would have caught it and would have been devastating the amount of damage it would have done in the basement this morning. So that was huge. And with that being said, I got up this morning and we have a storage place over by my new garage where we have a lot of equipment, and we've had extra water heaters that we've taken out of other properties, and the only two that we have left are what they call hybrids. You can actually use them as forced hot air, and they're electric, and they're only 40 gallon. This is a 75-gallon gas. And he had said, let's use up what we got. So I went over this morning and I called him. He didn't answer, and I looked and I'm like, you know what? I know full well the right thing to do here is to leave these outrageously expensive ones that we're gonna have to pay a ton more money to retrofit, and then we can only use half of them, and they'll be undersized. It made no sense. So I'm like, even though it's not what he asked me to do, I'm gonna explain to him, what I'm doing, and I'm gonna make an executive decision and do the job right. So I sent him a text, and I started heading to Home Depot to go buy a water heater. And I got halfway there, and he called me back, and he said, oh my God, this is why I'm so happy with you today. He goes, you know what, that's exactly what I want you to do, and I appreciate anybody else is so afraid to do anything other than what I say that they'll do something stupid just because I said it. He goes, I appreciate that you're looking out and doing the right thing. And I said, the only thing is they don't sell 75 gallons, or, typically you don't see the 75-gallon tanks anymore. We've only been able to get 50s. For the last year, and I said we just have to put a 50 in, and it'll be with the other 75. Maybe I'll twin them, and it'll be okay. Well, then I got to the Home Depot, and sure enough, they actually had a 75-gallon water heater there, which is it's literally double the money than a 50-gallon. But again, that's the beauty of today, guys, because everything I'm doing, there's never been a situation in my life where I could have bought the $1,600 shower doors on Saturday, deposited that check, it's not cleared yet, and then today go buy a $1,200 water heater and not have it affect me in any way, shape, or form, and not have to go get a deposit from a customer and not worry about it. It's the most amazing feeling to me. And I was so, I was literally proud of it, you know what I mean? And literally didn't even put a dent in it. I still got plenty of money in both the accounts. And I'll collect a check for the water heater tomorrow, and I already deposited the $2,300 check for the shower job. Like, fantastic, right? These are the things that happen when you walk in faith and you do the trust walk, and then you do the right things, do the right things, and you you heal your relationship with money, or at least in my case, or if just if you're good with money. And for my case, I was very bad with money. I needed to heal my relationship with money, and I'm so glad that I did. And it's funny, guys, at any other point in my life, I'd look at these things that I say to you on camera today, and literally they're the lessons I take in my life, and I'm like, it is so 180 degrees opposite of who I used to be. Anybody would talk like this, I would laugh at them, and be like, yeah, heal a relationship, you're being an idiot. But no, it's so true. I've literally come to find out that the power has always been within me, and now I'm just intentionally working with my subconscious to retrain myself. As a matter of fact, I was listening to a beautiful meditation from Joe Dispenza last night, and as a matter of fact, I'm actually going to listen to it again, and I'm going to do a paragraph on it tomorrow, and that's what we're going to make tomorrow's video about. And literally, guys, it's just breaking down. And it's the same thing I've been telling you all along, only in a much more professional and probably easier to digest in a much more thorough way than I'm capable of doing at this point. And that's why I'm going to school and taking the classes that I'm taking, so that I'll be more eloquent and I'll have a better vocabulary, and I'll understand what I'm trying to say myself better, because I got it in my head. It's trying to communicate it that I feel like I fail sometimes. And again, I'm doing my best, and it's not a critique of myself. I'm very happy with where I'm at, but obviously there's lots of room for improvement, and that's the beauty today, guys, is I'm always constantly trying to improve, and that's what I'm trying to encourage all of you. Now, the Just for Today, NA Just for Today was, I find fellowship in my AA group, and that is the most important thing we extend for the active addict, and it's something I've come to see that I got to be more careful about, because I'm so anti-drugs for myself right now that and it hasn't been a problem yet, but I've caught myself before. I've got to understand that not everybody is at the same place I'm at in my journey, and I've got to be a little more leeway for somebody of course I will be, if somebody's in the program that has a relapse. So long as they're coming back to the program, then of course, man, I'm going to be right there and support you and be understanding. Now, if you show up high and then try to lie to me and tell you you're not getting high, well, that's a different story. You know what I mean? You just gotta be upfront. Anybody that comes to me is trying to help themselves, and they're being honest and upfront about it, then I got no problem. I understand. Nobody's perfect, and everybody's path looks different, and relapse is very often a part of the recovery journey. And I'll be right there to support you and hold your hand and just welcome you back to the meeting, and I'm glad you're there. Always keep coming, guys. You know what? Doesn't matter if you fall down. Always get back up, and even if you've used that day, go to the meeting. You might, it might help you from taking the next one, right? So, guys, that's what it's about, is encouraging and understanding that not everybody's at the same spot, and it's okay. The other thing, guys, is, so I got up this morning, and I went out and got the water heater, and I came back, and again, half the building's got no hot water, so I was committed to doing it, and I was hoping to get it done in time for church. But again, church to me, the kingdom of heaven is from within. I don't feel bad missing church, and if I have any desire, I could go tomorrow. And but again, I'm not worried about that, because what I did was I just read a few chapters of my Bible, and I actually I feel like I got this. That's what I go to church for, is to hear the scripture. I just read the same scripture that they would have read today in church, and then I read others. My favorite part of the Bible, guys, if any of you guys are interested, and again, not pushing it down anybody's throat, I find like a lot of people, I find the Bible very difficult to understand and to translate. The one thing I do enjoy is Psalms, or at least what I've found that I've enjoyed the most so far is the Psalms. And the Psalms to me are basically treatments or prayers. And I was just reading Psalm 77, and we're going to talk about today, guys, because it's something that I feel is very, very relevant. So many times when things are going bad in our lives, we want to blame it on God, and yet we have not taken the time to actively invite God into our life, and we haven't tried to meet him halfway. We expect him to just do it for us and not understand that we have accountability in it. Guys, if you want supernatural help and you want to have a good relationship with the higher power, you have to invite him into your life. You literally... and again, you don't have to do it my pet, but you have to actively invite him. We have this, and I used to talk about it all the time, and I haven't in a while, so I'm going to touch on that again. One of the most beautiful and important gifts we've been given as human beings is the gift of free will. And for that reason, and this, again, this is only my humble opinion, guys. This is just the way I understand it, and that's the only opinion I can really speak on is mine. and it fits with my life, and that's why I believe it. I tend to believe the things that I've experienced and I've thought over, and I've looked at the results and come up with a conclusion. God always took care of me. He always made sure I didn't die. I didn't die when I overdosed. I didn't get gravely injured when I crashed into telephone poles. But I hadn't at that point. I was still reaping the I was reaping the rewards of the bad seeds that I was sowing. Basically, I was playing stupid games and I was winning stupid prizes. Is the simplest way to put it. And God will never interfere with that. If that is your choice to do so, He will sit there and watch you. But He may keep you from from taking it too far, and that's why it could very well be why you're still alive if you're anything like I was. I mean, there's no way I should have survived all the things that I survived when I was out there actively using. But I did, and I believe that was my higher power. And it goes back to that saying where man walking through the beach, and he looks back at his life, and every time he was going through times of trouble, he only sees one set of footprints instead of two. And he asked God, I see that you were walking with me through all the good times, but how come in all the times of trouble I only see the one set of footprints? Where were you? And God says, I was right there with you, son. I was carrying you. And that's the way I see it. Allow you to make your mistakes, but He'll be there to keep you alive and keep you healthy. And then the day that I broke down and started praying and asking God for, and again, you can pray and not invite God into your life, okay? Understand that. There's a difference there. When I started praying, I started asking God for His path. God, please show me your path for me. Allow me to walk in your light. Right? And that was the difference maker, guys. That's when I started getting messages, downloads, intuitive nudges, and I started getting clear on what I was doing, and it was just being brought to my attention. And things I was well aware of, but I had not paid attention to them. And that's when I started making good decisions. I started saying, okay, I gotta figure out a way to be able to give this up and get to rehab, and the whole story that I talk about that. That's when God entered my life, because I invited Him into my heart. I invited Him into my life. And that's when, and it's funny, 12-12, because I said that. And that is when things started getting better for me, guys. And then obviously when I went to rehab and I started reading about intelligent or scientific prayer, and I started really buying into it and really getting introspective and really starting to pay attention to it and really developing my one-on-one conscious contact, my one-on-one relationship with my higher power, God, that's when the blessings started coming, guys. That's when the good decisions started coming. That's when the right opportunities started falling in my lap, literally the minute that I needed them. I didn't get anything beyond what I was capable of handling, or what at that point I couldn't handle anything, guys. I could barely speak without crying, and not bawling, but just my voice would crack up, and the whole time in rehab, it was just I was starting to really just come alive, and it was just it was an emotional time, and it wasn't even overly emotional. I was happy, and I was very so encouraged, and I was so full of hope. But again, I was just feeling so much that literally every time I tried to start and talking, I'd start cracking up. So God was literally just putting the next step right as I needed it. Not long enough for me to worry about it and feel overwhelmed by it, but the minute that I needed it, boom, it would just show up there. And I'm like, okay, I can do this, all right? So I'm gonna focus on myself and say my prayers, and I'm not gonna allow anything else outside of me to worry about it. And I'm not gonna worry about anything other than directly what I have in front of me. And I just continued that way, and it got a little better and a little more. And then He put the next thing in literally, guys. I didn't have to seek anything. I just sat there and followed the nudges and the clues and the breadcrumbs and the opportunities that He's presented to me. And I've more or less been doing that. Now, obviously, I've gotten much stronger, much healthier. But again, it was the idea for the channel. It came from Him. And so many other things, guys. And it's just literally just been the way that I've started living my day. And the reason I tell you this, because again, if you watch these videos with me, you see the supernatural blessings that are happening in my life. I'm not capable of the stuff that's been happening. I'm getting to be capable, and I know I'm capable of anything God puts in front of me, because He wouldn't put it in front of me if it wasn't. And now I'm challenging myself to respond to the opportunities that are being put in front of me, because I know they're being put in front of me for God to show me what I'm capable and what He wants and what would be best for me next. Because He knows better for me than what is better. He knows better what is best for me than I do. And I believe that wholeheartedly, and He's proving it on a daily basis. And that's basically what Psalm 77 verse 1 through like 28. It starts out in the beginning, somebody feeling left out in the cold, and why does God scorn me? And yet they're doing nothing. And then one day they get introspective and say, okay, God, now I'm going to contact you. I'm going to interact with you, and I'm going to ask you, please, why are you not helping me? Please come and help me. And then immediately he starts getting better. He starts seeing that it was his own actions that were causing the problems. And again, this is me breaking it down in my understanding of it. Somebody else may read it and tell me I'm out of my mind. But again, that's okay. That's the beauty of free will, guys. Every one of us can read something and get something different out of it. But that's what I've gotten out of it, and it's exactly what's unfolded in my life. And it's happening in the most beautiful ways. Yeah, I don't know how we even segued into that. So anyway, so I ended up finishing that water heater today, guys. And I wrote a bill for $1,950. I spent $1,200 on the water heater. So basically, I paid myself $750 before 1 o'clock this afternoon. And that's beautiful, right? These are the things that are happening because I'm doing things the way that I'm doing them. And if I wasn't going to charge enough, that's why God made Doug tell me, no, make sure you charge me enough that you're making money too. I want you to make money. It's just the next beautiful, beautiful blessing in my life. And this is there. Now, here it is. Trip between Saturday and Sunday, if I consider, I do, on my week's end on Friday, I'm taking tomorrow, and the reason I tell you this, I'm taking tomorrow off, because now I've worked pretty much all day Saturday, and I worked the better part of the day. I went and did a couple of mechanics jobs. Matter of fact, we're going to touch on that, but the video's getting long, but maybe we'll talk about them tomorrow. So, I've now worked, most of Saturday and half of Sunday, and as a matter of fact, I did something, guys. My knee, halfway through the day, I suspect 75-gallon water heater, the old one filled with sludge. The thing weighed literally about 500 pounds. And I was wrestling around and got it up out of the basement by myself and got it in the back of my truck and took it over to the scrapyard and dumped it off. And I suspect at one point when I was trying to tip it onto the dolly, I must have twisted my knee as I pushed. Well, my knee is swollen way, way up, and it's filling up with fluid, and I've never had knee problems, but it's starting to really hurt. So I'm taking tomorrow off. I've got my Harvard class in the morning, so I'm going to focus on my class. I've got my therapist in the afternoon, so I'll do my therapist appointment, and anybody that calls, I'm going to tell them no, and I'll put it off for another day, and I'm going to tell them straight up, I worked all weekend, this is my day off, and I've got work scheduled for Tuesday, and we'll go from there. But that's what it's all about today, guys. I'm so thrilled with the money that I'm making, and again, I'm understanding, okay, I went hard 2 days, I didn't have a weekend day off, I didn't make it to church, I'm going to take Monday off, I'm going to do my class, and I'll just schedule everything accordingly, because I'm going to keep that balance in my life, and that's what's so important, guys. Don't let anything, and I'm being careful with that, because I'm starting to see money stack up in my account, and I'm starting to get excited about it, and I'm starting to see myself going, okay, what am I putting together? Did I hit the next 1,000 yet? And, okay, that's not what it's about. So I forced myself to go out and spend some money this week and buy some new clothes, lend some money to a friend of mine, because I don't want that to be. And that's the thing, guys. When you're living intentionally, when you're living in faith like I am today, you catch yourself when you start to see trends that are unhealthy. And I'm trying to keep everything balanced. And yeah, of course I want to save as much money as I can, but I don't want that to consume me, and I don't want that to be the focal point of anything. So when I catch myself starting to feel greedy like that, I force myself to go out and give some money away, and then go buy myself some stuff, because I needed some nice gym clothes, and I'm all nasty, and that's beauty, and I end up feeling really good about that. And that's the beauty of it today, guys. I'm not perfect. I fail constantly, but I catch myself and I rectify it, and I'm being made aware of it because of the way that I'm living. That's never happened before. I'd start down that rabbit hole, and away I would go. And I love the fact that I'm staying on point today by catching those behaviors and then being able to correct them before they're a problem. And that's the biggest gift in the world to me right now. That's what's keeping me expanding and moving forward, is my ability to self-correct and self-right. And not only that, but to catch, the second I start doing anything that isn't in alignment with my soul, because I am aligned right now and working in alignment, it stands out like a sore thumb, and I'm immediately able to catch it and correct it. And again, this is why I share these lessons with you guys, and I encourage you all to find your higher power, to give reverence, develop your relationship with the higher power, and then find your soul's true purpose, and then start working towards it. Because when you do, everything comes together so incredibly beautifully that the slightest thing out of balance, the slightest thing off, you catch it before it snowballs and becomes something you're doing regularly that's going to cause a problem. And that's to me is amazing, because my whole life was always a problem. I was always a problem, and now I'm the example, and that's the most honorable thing I've ever said. It makes me so incredibly happy. Guys, always remember, God loves you, I love you. If nobody else has told you that today, well, now I have. We should all hear it once a day, or we should all hear it throughout the day. But if you haven't heard that yet today, well, now you have. Every one of us is worthy and deserving of love. And if you're not, it's because you're acting it and you're choosing not to be. And even then, you're still worthy and deserving. But if you are not acting in the best way you can, then try to correct it, guys. Nobody's perfect, and you're still worthy and deserving. But if you know you're doing something that's wrong, stop. Like all these scammers online, I wish them better. I wish them but at the same time, I can't. I wish I could see them get served their karma, and particularly the ones that are scamming me, because I'm surrounded by a team of angels. I feel bad for the poor bastards that are scamming me right now. I know they're eating karma hard. Guys, God loves you. I love you. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one.